I was standing in line at the box office, grinning like a fool, phone in one hand, wallet in the other. The lights from Times Square shimmered against the glass as I scrolled through our old messages, her texts from a month ago, gushing about how badly she wanted to see Hamilton, calling it her dream date night. It was going to be a surprise. Our 10th anniversary was next week, and for once, I wanted to get it right. Something thoughtful, spontaneous, romantic. Not boring. Then, as I absent-mindedly scrolled through my feed, a notification appeared. A new Facebook post. From her. How do I survive another date night with Captain Boring? Followed by a laughing emoji. The words hit me like a punch, glowing on the screen, bright as neon. A few people had reacted. One coworker. Another name I didn't recognize. The timestamp read, "Just now." I read it again. And again. Captain Boring. That was me. My thumbs shook as I refreshed the page, praying it was some kind of mistake, a meme, a joke, something out of context. But it wasn't. It was still there, out in the open, for the world to see. The line inched forward, but I couldn't move. Someone behind me muttered, "Hey, buddy, you going, or what?" I blinked, mumbled an apology, stepped ahead, but my head was miles away. Back home. Back to the memory of her laughing one night and saying, "You're the safest man I know, Mark." Back then, safe meant comfort. Now it sounded like boring. By the time I got home, the tickets were burning a hole in my pocket. 2 perfect seats, front row. I should have been thrilled. Instead, my stomach churned like I'd swallowed stones. When I opened the door, the smell of her favorite candle, vanilla and cedar, filled the air. She was curled up on the couch, scrolling through her phone, her hair up, wearing my old sweatshirt. She looked up and smiled faintly. "Hey, you're back early. Did you get the groceries?" I stared at her, the woman I'd built a decade of memories with. And for a moment, I wanted to forget what I'd seen. Pretend I hadn't. Pretend everything was still okay. But something inside me had already cracked. "I got something better," I said softly, pulling an envelope from my jacket. She tilted her head. "What's that?" I handed it over. She opened it, gasped. "Oh my God, Hamilton. Are you serious, Mark? How did you even? These are impossible to get." Her eyes lit up with genuine excitement. And for a cruel second, I saw the woman I'd fallen in love with, the one who used to trace circles on my palm during movies, who once told me I made her feel safe in a world that wasn't. Then I remembered the post. Captain Boring. How do I survive another date night with Captain Boring? I forced a smile. "Yeah, I thought you'd like it." She didn't catch the sharpness in my voice. She never did anymore. That night, I couldn't sleep. She was curled beside me, breathing slow and even, while I stared at the ceiling. Streetlight leaked through the blinds, slicing across the room. The post replayed in my mind over and over. Her words, the emojis, the comments. One stood out. Evan Miller. Could be worse, he'd written. At least he's paying for dinner, winking face. I remembered that name. Evan, her harmless coworker. My pulse quickened as I opened his profile. Public photos. Group shots. And then, one picture from their office happy hour last week, her standing next to him, laughing, her hand resting lightly on his arm. A small gesture, but it said everything. I shut my phone and turned away, swallowing hard. The next day, I acted normal. Made breakfast. Kissed her cheek. Drove to work. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed to see for myself. 2 days later, she texted. "Working late tonight. Don't wait up, red heart." I felt the lie before I finished reading. Her office always closed at 6. So I drove there. Parked across the street. Waited. At 6:45, she walked out, laughing, radiant, with Evan. He opened the passenger door for her, and she climbed in without hesitation. My hands tightened around the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. They drove to a small Italian restaurant on 9th Avenue. Candlelit tables, the same place we'd gone years ago, when we still held hands across the table. They took that same corner booth. I sat in my car, watching through the glass, cold air from the vents hitting my face. She leaned forward, laughing. He brushed a strand of hair from her cheek. She didn't pull away. Something inside me, something old, patient, and loyal, finally broke. I didn't storm in. I didn't shout. I just drove home, sat in the dark living room, and waited. When she finally came in, just before midnight, she looked startled to see me awake. "Oh, hey, you're still up," she said casually. "I told you we had to stay late." I nodded. "Yeah, I saw." Her smile faltered. "Saw what?"
You.
"And Evan." The color drained from her face. "You followed me?" "I bought you Broadway tickets," I said quietly. "And while I was standing in line, you called me Captain Boring. I just wanted to make sure you were entertained." She opened her mouth, closed it, whispered, "Mark, I didn't mean it like that. It was just a joke." "A joke," I said, my voice cracking but low. "A joke to call your husband boring in front of everyone? Or was dinner with Evan a joke too?" Tears filled her eyes. "It wasn't like that. He's just a friend." "Friends don't look at each other like that," I interrupted. "I saw you." The room went silent, thick and suffocating. She sat down, trembling. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she whispered. I felt trapped. Everything's been the same for so long. You work, I work, we come home, barely talk anymore." I let out a bitter laugh. "So, your fix is to humiliate me online? To go out with another man?" Tears spilled down her face. "It wasn't supposed to happen like that." I stared at her. The woman I thought I'd grow old with, and realized something simple and cruel. She'd already left me long before I caught her. Maybe that post wasn't just cruel. Maybe it was the truth. The next morning, I packed a small bag. She stood by the door, still in my sweatshirt, eyes swollen from crying. "Where will you go?" she whispered. "Somewhere I don't feel like a punchline," I said. "Please," she cried. "Don't end it like this. We can fix it. I'll delete the post, I'll block him." "It's not about deleting a post, Emily," I said quietly. "It's about deleting us. You already did." She reached for my hand, but I stepped back. "I stayed calm," I told her. "When I saw the post, when I followed you, even when I watched you laugh with him, I stayed calm because anger would have made me like you, careless." I paused at the door. "But I'm done being calm." Then I walked out. A week later, I sat on a park bench by the river, watching the city lights shimmer on the water. My phone buzzed, a message from her. "I miss you. Please come home." I made a mistake. I stared at the screen for a long time, then opened my notes app, the one where I'd written something that night at the theater line. "You can survive betrayal, but you can't survive pretending it didn't happen." I turned off the phone and slipped it into my pocket. In the distance, the Broadway lights glowed. The same show she once begged to see. Maybe one day, I'd go alone. And maybe, just maybe, I'd stop being Captain Boring. Not because I'd changed, but because I'd finally stopped apologizing for who I was.